And welcome to In-Game Chat for Saturday, April 4th, 2015. This is Season 9, Episode 14. I'm Scott.
I'm James.
I'm Dennis.
I'm Matt.
And I'm RJ.
And I'm Nathan.
Welcome to a full house, a packed room. This is the first time, I think, ever.
Down here, at least. Yeah.
And up there, I believe. First time we've had every single person in here.
Including Nate.
Yes, including Nate. Oh God.
A long time.
A very long time. Anyway, welcome to the show. You might be noticing we got 4 cameras going on. I'm a little flustered because we just started that. This was just put together in no time, and so we're trying something new. We look at every show as another day to try something different and see what we can like and make things better for you guys. So. Welcome to the show. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our phone number, Nate's in there answering those phones, 334-272-9228. You can check out ingamechat.net for all the links to get in touch with us. You can find us on Twitter at ingamechat as well as on Facebook. You can email us, everyone at ingamechat.net. We're streaming the cam feed right now, all 4 of them through Twitch. Head over to twitch.tv and search for In-Game Chat. You'll find us there, and you can join in the chat room live while we broadcast with everybody else who is hanging out in the chat room. And we want to thank everybody who joins us each week hanging out in the chat room. We appreciate it. Tons of game streams out there, and you guys watch ours, and we do appreciate that very, very much as well. So welcome to the show. Welcome to everybody being here. Normally we go over what we've been playing, and I'm going to go straight over to Matt, who was not here last week. I kind of know what he's been playing a little bit of because he's been streaming it on our channel in case you've missed that, but he'll tell us all about that. Matt, good to have you back. What have you been playing?
Well, the past couple of weeks, Duke Frukum and I have been streaming Alien Colonial Marines, and we actually finished that out last night. And
Had you not played that already?
I played just very briefly, maybe the first level and a half or so.
Right. The obligatory,
get a feel
I bought
for
this
it.
at launch and pre-ordered it and didn't listen to anyone who told me that it was actually going to be a steaming trash pile, so I had to put at least some time into it.
That sounds about right.
Okay.
Yes. And Duke hadn't played any of it.
Right.
And so we're like,
because he did listen to people who said that.
He probably got it on his. He's in the chat room. He'll tell us.
I think he got it for $5.
He probably got it on the sale.
Yeah.
Like
So-
everyone else.
I know.
I still haven't bought it.
Really? I think I got it. I don't even think I bought it at
Well, see, I know
Steam.
that you bought it, and we share, so it's like,
Right,
we'll never have
but
to buy that.
I think I got it from, I think I actually got it on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was like some redonkulously cheap thing for like $2.
But I got to say, even though the game was bad, playing it with Duke was a lot of fun. Because, even
Right.
a bad game, if you co-op with someone, with friends and stuff, it makes it entertaining. And so, misery loves company. And most of the times we're just sitting there playing through, and we're just scratching our heads at, the design choices, the story elements, just everything.
Yeah.
It was, and it's Duke kept on saying it's supposed to be canon according to the Aliens.
Yeah,
universe.
that was my understanding. Which, and I haven't played it yet. One of these days, one of these days, when I feel like I need to get my $2.50 worth out of it or whatever, I would play through it. From what I remember of what they said, and I did watch some of your stream, and you were bringing up questions that I know that we've talked about before, but their announcements of what the game was going to cover, where it was going to be set, and when it was taking place, didn't even make sense before we knew that the game was like a grotesque, disfigured game.
Yeah.
It never made any sense to me either. So, I think someone was just kind of up their own rear end with an idea about
How can we
what they
you know,
wanted the game to actually be and like where
Yeah.
they were going to insert themselves.
Yeah, how can we shove this this lore into it, even if it makes sense or not?
I mean, I'm no lore defender and anything. I understand lore is just old story. Like it's stuff that's already happened. You can change things if you want. You can insert things in between two other major lore points if you really want.
Everything can be retconned.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's perfectly fine. And there's a lot of places where there's room for it. You don't even have to butcher what's already there. You got to make a nice, cute little stitch on either end and fit it in. But they couldn't even be bothered to do that, from what I understand.
And I mean, some of the stuff wasn't as the sounds. They did a really good job with the sounds, the music. The
Yeah.
guns actually sounded like the movies.
But again, I would hope
But-
so because those sound files, have been so
Used.
influential, so popular,
Yeah.
and they've been distributed through so
I
many
mean,
different
way back
styles
to
of
the
games.
the Jaguar, Alien versus
Yeah.
Predator game.
Like-
but even in the last AVP that came out, the pulse rifles didn't sound like they were supposed to.
Yeah, I didn't play that one,
So-
so maybe you're right, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so that
Maybe you're wrong because you're the kind of guy that would pre-order Colonial Marines. I have no idea.
the some of the the looks of it, the space jockey, the Prometheus ship,
Right.
LV-426, even though it should have been a big nuclear disaster
Yeah.
site, Hadley's Hope was still there.
Duke says, let's not give him too much credit on the sounds. The menu music is the exact same from the first Aliens versus Predator.
It's an homage. That's what it was.
It's an
That's all it
homage.
was. Come on.
Yeah. The
That's a good defense, by the way.
Yeah,
Come on.
I shouldn't say that. then.
for the bad. Oh man, the weapons.
the other things.
The weapons, like Duke had his shotgun out, and it would take at least 5 to 6 blasts on a shotgun just to take down an alien at close range. It was pretty bad. The bullets, they're. I don't even think we were playing on like the tough difficulty.
Yeah.
Where there's you ramp up difficulty by making them bullet sponges and
Yeah.
stuff. We weren't even doing that, but it's just at some points it was just you were wasting half your clip, out of a 95 round
Right.
mag on one alien.
I watched you play a lot, and I mean by a lot I mean as much as I could stand of the game. Your streaming
Yeah.
was fine. It was a horrible game.
Yeah,
But nothing was right. None of the animations looked good. The
Yeah.
environments didn't quite feel like what they should have. I think that of almost any game series, any setting I can think of, proper atmospheric lighting. Like, look, in general, I think graphical effects in games, for the most part, are icing on the cake. But this is a type of game where if you don't nail the lighting
Yeah,
and
it's
nail
off.
the sound and nail the volumetric effects and all that other stuff, it falls apart.
the
It's
whites
like
were
a-
so overblown.
Yeah, it's like a theater with all the work lights on. The effect is literally lost because lighting creates the effect. It very much did in the films.
Yes.
Very much did in the films. And that's what you're trying to do. You even say that we're going right back to the film set because we think we're awesome enough to take on that setting. And then you don't nail it to the floor. Absolutely. It looked horrible. You were walking through alien blood like
Nothing.
nothing.
Well,
And, like,
even like they were up close and you hit them with a shotgun or
Yeah.
something, and they explode
And see,
all
that's
over
what
you.
it-
And
That's really what it should have been. They shouldn't have been nothing should have been a bullet sponge. The aliens weren't. They were fragile. They were glassy.
yeah.
But the lethality wasn't engaging them at
At
all.
a distance, you have
Yeah.
to you have to get far enough away from
And
them.
there's no reason not to believe that there aren't thousands of them. By all means, throw hundreds and hundreds of these things at me and make them fragile and make it so that I have to be very careful about where and how I choose to engage.
Yeah.
Now you've got something that's fun to play. Now you've got high stakes versus, a sense of
To me, if they were going to do
accomplishment.
something like that, I wouldn't have set it on LV-426. I would have done like Earth War or something
well,
that would make a little bit more sense because there weren't that many
Yeah.
colonists. Because the first wave of Marines from the movies, they took down a lot of the aliens. The reactor going critical took down a lot more of the aliens.
Yeah.
And then here they are in the game, and there's like hundreds of aliens.
yeah.
Where did all these extra aliens come from?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
And yeah, we're just all scratching our head on that. So Yeah, it was. We
That's
finished
a good
it.
point, though. That is a fair enough point.
We finished the game. That it was worth finishing. It was worth. I think it was.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of it from last night?
No, I did not.
Oh, so you didn't see the crazy plot twist at the end?
Yeah, Duke was asking about that if we wanted to go into spoilers.
Man, you are not only past the point.
Spoilers.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
statute
okay.
of limitations is over.
Is
on
it
this.
is over on this game? It was
It was
it
over
was
very
done.
soon.
Yeah. So, one of the things that really annoyed me about the co-op multiplayer is every time you finished a level, it brought you back to the lobby. We had to select the next level instead of like a flowing campaign. It always brought you back to the lobby, and that just that just annoys
Oh
me.
yeah, that's I don't particularly care. I don't like that either.
Yeah.
I don't because I know it's a limitation of how multiplayer is handled often, but usually it's just treating each one like a multiplayer map. The fact that it's
Exactly.
co-op is only breaking the single player down into individual maps, and it's totally agnostic that you're doing a co-op thing. It's treating it functionally like you're doing a competitive.
Yeah, going from one map to the
Yeah,
other.
that sucks.
But I think it was like the third map. No, the second map or so to the end. You're supposed to be, after everything goes bad and, the Marines are all getting killed. There's one Marine that you have to go save, and he has a bag over his head, and he was like one of the Marines from the original Sulaku mission. And I was thinking, oh, maybe like somehow they saved Hudson or someone like
Oh,
that,
sure, yeah.
because it turns out it was Hicks.
Huh?
It was Hicks. He
Okay.
And they even asked that, like, wait, Bishop's like you supposedly died on Fury 161.
Yeah.
As much
Yeah.
as much as we don't necessarily like the third movie, that's kind of what happened.
Also canonical.
Yeah.
We don't like the video game either, but
yeah.
canonical, I suppose.
So, and he's like, oh well, we got stopped in the middle of hyperspace and they body swapped me with someone else. I'm like, oh my goodness.
And we're done.
Yeah, I'm like, Michael Biehn. I mean, are you hurting for money that bad that you have to do this?
I don't know. Sorry.
So that was like the big thing that Hicks was back, and yeah,
I'm going to tell you, you just devoted the first 15 minutes of our show to Aliens Colonial Marines.
you're welcome.
This is why he has to share.
This is why we got to put a stop to this.
Like
That's
I said,
good.
Misery Likes Company. Other than that,
What else did you play?
Pillars of Eternity. I got that.
Oh, nice.
I really like that game.
How far did you get?
I got to a bear in a cave, and it stomped
Hey,
me.
the old bear in the
Yeah.
cave.
I was like,
The
oh.
old bear in the cave trope.
Okay, so they told me about the bear, and they go, oh, he's powerful, whatever. Let's go see it smack one hit, and I'm dead. I'm like, what? Okay, maybe let's try this again. All right, pause it. I'll set, because I'm playing as a.
That happened to me too. And the first time I had 4 of my buddies with me, we went
Yeah.
back to that game.
I know. I'm playing as a elf ranger, and so I'm like, I sick my little wolf on him and everything. Maybe he'll distract him. I could see what's in the loot chest, and no, smack, wolf's down, smack, I'm down. All right, that's about how that's gonna go. Then, no, it just got patched, I think last night.
Oh, did
Yeah,
it?
to remove the.
There was some critical.
Yeah, it's the one where if you double click on a piece of equipment to
It
equip
takes away your,
all your
stat.
buffs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I saw
Racial and class
that's
buffs
been
and
there.
like.
Yeah.
So now that that's done, I'll go back and play that some more. On that, a little bit more on GTA 5 on the PS4, just messing around with that, just having some fun. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I what did I play? I went back into Pillars and got further with it as well. I don't necessarily know if he was a boss, but I guess I defeated him. And I don't really necessarily want to say with who, because I think you actually can make a choice to side with him or not. But yeah, I had to go back and get I only had three. I had 3 people in my team, and suddenly I was rolling in all this money, and I was like, well, let me go back to the bar or the inn, the tavern, and let me get 2 more people to join my team. Had a full team of 5 or 6? I think it's 6, right?
Yeah, I think 6 total.
6 total. Had 6 total. We went there, took care of him, did all that. That was great, and then that's where I stopped. I have not gone back to it. They have patched it, so I'll probably do some of that tomorrow or maybe even tonight. However, I've been a little bit.
we gotta
I know.
we gotta do that thing because
I've been preoccupied with Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Oh, you've been playing that?
I saw James playing it not too long ago, and I thought, okay,
We got it. Like we both got it like a really long time ago.
I have
and
it too.
And I let it sit there, and I was like, play another thing. So I like played another thing, but I would like leave it because it was. I was like, yeah, I don't know about this, but it looked, like it looked.
Yeah.
It didn't look great. And because I don't care. The Michael Ironside went away. I don't care about that stuff. People lose their minds anytime an actor makes a choice, or more importantly,
A
people
studio?
who make things make choices about actors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they're great. I know they're collaborative. I know they're good people. Often, I work with them all the time. They, like anybody else, are tools. They're just one part of the thing. I cannot understand making a decision about an entire thing because, like, oh, well, this guy is this thing to me, and therefore, screw it if he's gone. Man, what? It's like, whatever.
I know.
Whatever. I don't care. I even assumed that they were just like doing like a soft reboot,
Yeah.
but they're not. They
No,
weren't. They were
it's
just
a-
like, oh, it's a different guy. I was like, oh, I cared about that for as long as it took me to read it was a different guy. So whatever.
Yeah.
I just didn't play it because, as always, like my eyes are bigger than my stomach, and I got too many games on my plate. So,
Yeah.
but I was like going through my stuff, and I was like, this thing is on my hard drive because I really wanted to play it. Also, it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge install. I gotta get it off. I gotta get it off there. I gotta start playing it, and I did, and I like it actually. I really like it plenty. But they've got, they've got like the main missions, and then they've got like some co-op or solo missions, and then they got these other missions over here
Like
that are just
Terrasun?
100%. No, they're like
they've got that too.
Yeah. 'Cause I
they
was doing
do,
that
and
a
then they
little bit.
have horde mode type things, sort of. I mean, the missions are all quite clever, but they do have a section of mission, and they all earn you money to help you do your thing. Whatever, doesn't matter. But some of them are co-op strictly, and I was like, this is pants, dude. Like, I bet everybody I know who's played it has already played the game. I don't want to.
Is it just 2-player co-op? Or?
Yeah, it's just 2-player
Oh,
co-op.
man.
So anyway, Scott and I, penciled in a date for the future to play through that stuff because you haven't beat the game either.
No. I had left off on some mission ever how long ago, and I saw James playing it, and so I fired mine back up, and I thought, hey, we could probably do some co-op stuff. And again, like you said, we've talked about it, and I fired mine back up and started playing, and this mission that had been sitting there for, well, I guess over a year now. I don't remember when Blacklist came out, but
It's been a year or two.
It's been like a year. Or
it's been a
something.
good while.
'Cause I remember when I picked it up, I bought the Splinter Cell collection, all of them except for Pandora Tomorrow.
Right, yeah.
And I loaded up Blacklist. And I was like, oh, let me play this a little bit. Then I'm like, you know what? I want to get. It's been a while since I played the other ones. Let me try and get the story of the other ones. And I started going back to the first Splinter Cell, and I'm like, nope. The gameplay is just, it's so antiquated.
I'm glad that I played it back when
Back
it was
then,
like its
yeah.
thing because it's
So I'm like, Chaos Theory. That was a really, really good one.
well,
Let
it
me
was.
load
I mean,
one
that
up.
was I still think
Again.
that one's actually more. They got more playable over
Yeah.
time until they got two more playable, which meant that they were not playable for someone who wanted Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
And then I think they've
the farthest
corrected.
back I might go is Conviction.
Conviction really fit that bill of what he was saying.
Yeah. I don't know.
I didn't
No.
like Conviction.
I
liked
didn't
it
either.
better
Conviction started okay, but
Yeah.
then it just
No, Conviction and like
Double Agent.
Double Agent. Those were no, dude. No,
Yeah.
it's best to just like.
That's when they became the
Best
more
to just
action.
read the Wikipedia entry, stroll right by, and go straight to Blacklist.
or nowadays just go to YouTube, watch it.
No, don't do that.
Oh.
Don't even do that. Literally, do not even watch anything about those video games. They were not very good games. Just read what happened. This guy is this guy now, and then this person is dead, and there you go. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
So I started playing it, finally got through this mission that I just sat on for like a year, or ever how long it was. Finally got through it. And then started looking at, all the other things you can do on the plane and stuff. The little, whatever that little map meta game is that pops up, did some of that. And
I hate that game.
it's a time killer, and it multiplies my earnings.
No.
every time I
it's-
finish a
No.
mission.
I like having my earnings multiply.
Right, yes.
But I hate that game.
Which is why we should do the co-op so that I can get more money.
That's the only. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And so I got through that, and so I'm sitting on that right now. Did I play anything else?
Man, Duke, I hated Double Agent, by the way. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to keep up with him.
Yeah, no, Duke said
I
that
couldn't. I couldn't.
we talked about that a little bit. He's like, yeah, it wasn't that bad.
No, it was that bad, and then some. I could not stand. That game was so awful to me. I hated it so much. I know that it still had a lot of like the elements of Splinter Cell, but they were not put together very well, in my opinion. So,
No.
but whatever. He and I are obviously on opposite sides of the Michael Ironside thing too. So, sorry about that.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that really worked for. I was listening to that today while I played a little bit this morning, and I was listening to the voice work and everything else. I was like, man, I don't remember. I was like, was I mad that they switched? I don't remember. And if I was, I really shouldn't have been, because this sounds fine.
Yeah.
I was okay with this. And the other thing that really set me apart to where I didn't become so attached was Batman Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, how they got rid of Kevin.
Yeah. Well, they didn't get rid of him. They just didn't use him.
Just didn't use it. Yeah.
And now I wish I could remember the name. I knew it yesterday.
It was Roger Craig Smith.
Yes, Roger Craig Smith did a fantastic job, and I was actually pretty much okay. I've had to deal with, Conroy not being Batman plenty of times.
Oh yeah, Reno Romano in the one following the M8 series.
I know. There's like a ton where...
the
Bruce
movies.
Greenwood a bunch.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
he has not been. So I guess I'm sort of used to that, but I suppose this was an Arkham game, and I'm thinking, okay, going to have this, but it wasn't. They didn't have Hamill for Joker, although Troy Baker was just doing a Hamill impression of Joker.
Oh yeah, he'll be the first person to tell you that.
Yeah, but I was completely fine with that, and I think that's what kind of said, it doesn't matter as long as it's quality, and doesn't.
To be fair, man, to honestly be fair, I know that we're not talking about movies here, but once you and I think a lot of times if you sit down and have an honest conversation with the with the actors, both whether they do mocap and voice or if they're just doing voice, you're gonna, and I mean an honest conversation about what work actually is. A lot of times they don't like staying in the same thing over and over, and they're professionals. They perfectly understand why things go in a different direction. Something as simple as having the same actor in the same role repeatedly, it leads your writing and it leads your development. It tells you that, like, we're now, as a writer or a director or a producer, whatever I might be, depending on the medium, now I'm thinking I'm writing for this guy. Like, this guy and his fame or his notoriety
As
are
opposed to the
getting ahead of
character.
my product.
Yeah.
There are 100 good reasons and as many bad reasons, but there are good reasons. And
Like-
I would
Yeah.
just state that in general, I think the reasons are generally more often the right reasons for working with a different person. And it can inject a lot of interesting material in it. The fabric of that person's performance is you're never gonna get a Pierce Brosnan Bond out of what's his name that's done all the crappy modern Bonds.
Craig.
Yeah.
Daniel
Daniel
Timothy
Craig.
Dalton.
He was. The problem is Timothy Dalton was born to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
The man is just like the slickest, most awesome bad guy in the world. Now,
And I know
maybe
you're
we
gonna-
need to do
you'll
a
probably
Bond
joke on me,
where
but-
Bond is actually like, see if they'd
Yeah,
done a
like
Bond
he
where
was
he's
supposed
like
to be.
actually a bad guy, he would have been
I'm
fine.
actually looking forward to Spectre. A lot.
Whatever. I was only using it
Yeah.
to lend
But
some.
I'm not. I don't think I was
credence
that
to the idea
upset
that-
when Hader wasn't Snake in Ground Zeroes.
Oh, I just think, I wasn't particularly upset about moving beyond Hader. I mostly just didn't like Kiefer's performance.
Yeah.
It was a different. It's not like I hate anybody who's not David Hayter doing
Yeah.
this role. I just don't like this guy.
But I
and
think
what
some
he's
people
doing.
would see that that's how they would go as
Yeah.
as opposed to just I don't enjoy his performance. Like
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it's not Hader.
Yeah, it's
so,
tight. It's a
yeah.
weird conversation, and I find it to actually be very detrimental in the long run. To just the idea of continually enjoying the thing that I like. So, whatever. Again, it's fine, and there are actually legitimate arguments to be made on both sides of that emotional divide, as long as you just don't decide that, your bank of the river is the only one, and there's no reason to consider the other one. I think there very much is.
Scott, were you saying you did or didn't like it?
Didn't like what?
His voice, the new voice,
For...
Batman.
No, I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, Roger
I
Craig
didn't hear
Smith.
that part. I was.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He did a fantastic
Yeah,
job.
he's a good dude. He's,
Okay.
Chris Redfield,
Yeah.
and a bunch of other, done a ton of work.
In fact, so much so the Batman little trailer that was released. I don't know if it wasn't this week. I think it was last week.
Yeah, it was.
The Officer Down trailer from Arkham Knight. Actually, Kevin sounded not very good in that. He he didn't speak too much, but what you did hear sounded very flat and just like he wasn't even trying compared to what I've heard before. But that's based on whatever. That's based on this
dinklage.
time. Huh?
Like the dinklage.
Kinda.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
very much like a dinklage thing.
Hey, how about that PS4 though?
Yeah, I know. We're gonna get all that. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna take a break right now, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna finish going around the room here and talking about everything we played, and we'll be right back with more of in-game chat here in just a moment. And welcome back to In-Game Chat. The music that we went into commercial with was a track called Cider Time, and then this is music from Riven we're coming back from. Welcome back to the show. We were going over everything that we played. A few things that I did this past week. Mentioned Splinter Cell Blacklist that I played, and also Tiny Build Games, the people who did Speedrunners, they sent over a preview level for a game called Party Hard. And I might stream some of that. It's one single level. You're a dude at a party. It's very, what's the kind of, very pixelated graphics, I guess is the way it would be.
Like pixel art
Pixel
stuff,
art
low
type.
res.
Yeah, very low res.
You're a dude at a party.
You're a dude at a party, and you've got to kill other people at the party without being caught.
What is this?
Oh yeah,
It's called Party Hard.
I think I've heard of this.
I had never heard of it until they sent me the level over.
So do you like stick them with a knife or something?
Yes, you stab. You
So
quick
this
stab.
is like a stab version of
the ship.
Yeah, well, sort of. Is it multiplayer or is it?
No, it's only single player. It's
Oh.
and it's also
I
not
s-
first person. It's
Okay,
just
okay.
it's the overhead of the rooftop. You're on a party on a rooftop, and so it's overhead on a rooftop, and you've got to make sure that people don't see you. There's like
What's it?
30 people in
Oh,
the
Spy Party. That's what I was thinking
spy
of.
party is what you're thinking of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Where you have to like figure out the guy and then snipe the guy and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's actual.
Okay,
it's a
well,
pretty tough game.
apparently parties in video games
I know.
are literally only
Party, video, and murder.
a,
Yeah.
a tableau for like murder.
Yes. So you have the option to blend in by dancing. You have an option to pick up a body and move a body if you want, but that's just really dangerous to do because there's tons of, like I said, there's 30 people there, and they move from different places on the rooftop, and you have to kill and then get away from that body because anybody sees you near them, they suspect you as the killer, and then the police come and they'll arrest you. So it's a very patient game, but and I think it'll have. You can also set traps. Water over some electricity or something like that, so somebody can walk into it and then.
So it's got a little like a deception
Yes.
in it.
Yes.
Like a Tecmo's deception.
Like I killed. There was one guy passed out on a sofa, and I killed somebody who was standing up near that sofa. So when the police came, they blamed the guy that was passed out for killing the body that was nearby. They said he must have killed this person
because he's taking a nap next to a dead
right.
body.
Yeah. So I'll stream some of that so you
That's
guys can
awesome.
see exactly what I'm talking about. I'll stream some of that a little bit later. I also pre-ordered that Batman PS4 on Amazon, which gives me time to say, sure, I'll keep it, or no, I won't. But at least I put in the pre-order for it. And I ordered Amiibos.
Oh yeah.
Do
this
you
week.
have a Wii U at all?
No, I wanted Toon Link because we had talked about this, and they were announcing. Apparently, they went on pre-sale this past week. There's like a set of like 4 or 5 characters, but I only wanted one.
Yeah, I
And-
know a lot of people going nuts. I think Ness was one of the ones this
Oh
week.
man, Ness was
Yeah.
apparently the one that everybody really, really wanted. But I picked up Pac-Man, the Pac-Man amiibo. So Pac-Man and Toon Link, those are the only 2 I wanted. I might pick up if they do some other version of Mario or something. I might pick him up, but
They have 2 versions out now. They have the Smash Brothers and then the Mario World.
neither one. Which one's the Mario World?
I think he's giving the thumbs up.
That might be the one I go with. I don't know, but those right now, just the Toon Link and Pac-Man. So
Yeah, because the ones that I think have the alternate versions, Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Bowser. I've seen the alternates of those. Yeah, from Mario World.
I would love a Donkey Kong, but not the Donkey Kong
that they have.
Yeah. So, do you have a Wii U? Do you have any of those?
No, I just didn't see a point. And I mean, the only reason I'd probably ever get him is same reason you're getting him, is just to like have him on like a trophy shelf or something.
Yeah.
Why is that not a thing? Why is that not a thing? Because I know tons of people and have read plenty of people who are just buying them because of I want the guy. I want to put the little mans on the shelf and like the guy. Why don't they just do that? Why can't the interactive thing, like why do you have two different? Why are there two different like types of fandom intersecting and fighting essentially over one thing? Right? It's a joke how limited the supplies are. So just make some statuary, man. Like,
Yeah.
make some statuary. Here's a thing of a guy. Buy it. Here's a thing of a guy that interacts with a game. Now you can buy that. Like, it's weird.
I know.
That's
exactly
totally weird.
That's exactly why I'm buying it, for statuary purposes.
No,
not
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people are. A lot of people are buying them because for display purposes.
Nintendo could easily do this and still rake in the cash because they would go nuts for it.
Yeah, so even sell them at a cheaper price point because they don't have any kind of like
Or a
interactive-
more expensive price point, as long as there's enough availability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really. They could,
I don't know.
they
It's
could
weird.
go either
Whatever.
way with it.
Doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense to me. I thought maybe somebody could shed some light on it.
Yeah,
But it's Nintendo, so I go back to it doesn't make any sense to me.
Same with like I guess the Infinity. There's like maybe one or two of those statues that I wouldn't mind having.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever.
Oh, the Disney stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I already got my 3 out of that, And if they make some more that appeal to me, I'll pick those up. Again, for just statuary purposes. RJ, what's been going on with you, man?
Well, I've been playing a little bit more of Bloodborne
Yes.
lately. I'm making some progress, at least I think I am, because more often than not, I've been lost around the city. I've been going around in circles.
Do
a lot
enemies
lately.
respawn?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
When you go back to the Hunter's Dream and go back to the area, you'll respawn.
But only when you go back to the Hunter's Dream. So you can leave an area or like a section of the city, and you can go back to it, and they're still cleared out. They're
You can
not-
leave, hit the lamp, go back to the area that your nexus, so to speak. But when you go back to that same area, you respawn all the enemies that come up that were there beforehand. So you want to judge. You want to be careful about whether or not you want to have to go back to an area if you have to. But yeah, I've done that before in the rest of the Souls series. But
Yeah, and there's nothing like Dark Souls 2 where it's like so many enemies before they stop appearing.
I haven't
You haven't hit that
tried
cap?
that out yet. But I think in Dark Souls 2, I think it's like 10 or 11 respawns before the enemy stops showing up.
Yeah, before you have to use a aesthetic to bring them back.
Now the mini bosses don't respawn.
No, not the mini bosses.
Yeah.
No, but the
Just the
common
Yeah,
enemies will
exactly, yeah.
respawn on you. But yeah, I was spending more time navigating more than anything else. But,
how far are you?
Just going by boss battles, I beat Father. I'm probably going to say this wrong. Gascoigne. Father beat him. Then the Bloodstarved Beast got to beat him. I was killed by one of those bagmen near the church. I was abducted and taken to that secret area. Got to the boss of that. Couldn't take him. So I got back to my cell and started navigating around there, finding another way out, and I managed to do so. And right now, like I said, I'm just trying to navigate my way through because there's a lot of similar areas that I thought I've been to but didn't, or vice versa. I thought it was new, but it's old. I've already been there before. Seen a few new enemies though. The tentacle-faced magician, the one who casts a spell on you, makes you freeze in place, comes up on you, and then just takes about a good 3/4 of your life. And then when you try to run away, can't do it because the magic he casts you freezes you in place again. Lather, rinse, repeat. You're dead. Go back. Start over. So I had to find a way to just strategize and find a way to take him down. Other than that, I've been getting back into Street Fighter 5 and Virtua Fighter since Final Round. I haven't played it since Final Round. Coming back and getting in the groove of that because I got another tournament to go to in Auburn on the
Oh.
25th of August, 25th of this month.
Oh, okay.
So it's time to start practicing that again. Also took some time with MLB 15, the show on the PS4. I didn't get a lot of chance of get a lot of time to play it, but installing it, looking at it, they let you play a game while it's installing.
Like
So,
a little mini game or something?
No, it's an actual game between the Royals and the Giants.
Oh, wow.
just lets
While
you-
it installs.
While it installs, so you see the bar at the upper left saying how much.
How long did that
progress you have.
take?
I got to about the.
I got to figure that they knew their loading time or their install time was going to be something massive to say, here, go play a baseball game.
Yeah, while playing, I got to about the second inning. Some 3 up, 3 down type innings to go through. Got to the second inning before it was all said and done, finished. So I could either continue the game or just quit right there. But
They should have done something like batting practice or something.
oh yeah, home run derby, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, something like that. Something that's not as long as a game, but like long enough to cover the actual loading time.
Well, yeah, I guess
that
they
isn't
want,
just watching someone smoke.
Yeah, well, I guess what
Right.
they wanted to do is get you familiar with like the pitching mechanics and the hitting mechanics, but they're still the same. The ones
Right.
I set up were.
Yeah, you
anyway.
could just you
It's
go
still the
either
same
way.
thing.
You know, you
So
could
I can
like
do,
do a handful of pitches as a batter and then switch and get behind the cage, throw a few.
yeah,
That's
you
what I
can
would do.
switch teams. You can be batting or pitching at any time during the loading thing, just like you can in game. But going through that, and other than that, that's pretty much all I've been playing.
No, something of the first guy, the scholar of the first sins.
No, that's not until Tuesday. So I'm
What?
Yeah, we got it on PC early.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Mhm.
Never mind. I forgot. I forgot.
Yeah.
Poor fellows.
But you are going to
Yeah, I'm going to do Dark Souls on the PS4. I will be
Okay.
doing that.
All right.
Mhm.
Dennis?
Haven't had a lot of time to play games this week. Barely got into Pillars of Eternity. I finished the Temple Underneath Gilded Veil.
Yeah.
Temple of Eothas. That's about where I am right now. Loaded up Enslaved the other day, the old Ninja Theory game.
Yeah, I saw you playing that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like I can
On what?
PC.
On PC?
Yeah, just one of those things where it's like I just want something I can just not think about, not have, because playing PoE is kind of like I have to consider strategy and all this. Like, let me just run in and hit things and have fun.
Man, yeah. Pillars of Eternity is not a checkout
Yeah.
kind of game. Like, it is not. You have to be, like, your wits got to be on. There is no autopiloting. You have to really want to dig in for a little while. You got to
Yeah.
have the time and the mood.
Yeah. Other than that, I actually checked out a mobile game, Final Fantasy Record Keeper, which is by the same company that's taking over Nintendo's mobile stuff.
Dina?
Dina, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty decent. It's a free to play thing.
I found out I know somebody who works for Dina.
Really?
Yeah. The woman who helped us get that did that Space Invaders
Yeah.
giveaway we did ever
Yeah.
how long ago?
Yeah, that was nice.
And told us about the Vita and then told us not to talk about it, even though she told us about it. Way back before the Vita, or it wasn't the Vita, it was the
PSP Go?
the PSP Go. Yeah, she actually works for them. Had no idea.
Oh, interesting.
So
Well,
I'll be
If-
sending her an email.
if their future endeavors with Nintendo are kind of like this, it'll be decent. I can like it. I haven't gotten overly far into it. It's basically kind of the battles are a very simplistic version of the old 8-bit and 16-bit Final Fantasy battles. It's basically just go through this many enemies. You have like stamina, which means you only have so many fights per day. But it hasn't been the usual. Oh, you gotta go spend so much in our store before you can take your next action or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it will take like a good hour or two to reach that point where you'd have to actually spend money to keep playing. But you could just turn it off for a little while and come back, and it's like, oh, you have enough stamina to keep going.
Yeah. James, anything you've been playing recently?
Yeah?
Like?
I don't know. Bunch of stuff.
Nate, what have you been playing?
Good idea.
You don't go to me with like 13 minutes left.
That's not enough.
Okay, I'll go to Nate then. Nate, fill in 13 minutes.
All right. I
With
can
what
do
you've
that.
been, you can do that?
I could try. I can tell you one thing you just reminded me of. My one sports show I always listen to on Fridays. They ask everybody, what they're doing, and they get to the one guy and they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "None of your business." And they're like, "All right, next." But no, I'm actually really excited. I'm gonna play the demo. I haven't played it yet, but I downloaded it for Titan Souls, and ever since you talked about that game, I've been excited to play that.
Yeah, I need to send an email to them as well
Yeah.
because has that released or is that
no? I think it comes out next week.
I think it does, and is it part of PS Plus?
No, that won't. That's not.
No, okay.
Those games are already released for this month. It could be next month, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm still gonna get it.
What are we
for
What are we
PC.
getting, by the way? This
Titan
month?
Souls.
No.
Oh, what are we getting for the
You
free
said
stuff?
PS Plus. What are we
Oh.
getting?
I'd have to pull that list up. I'm not prepared.
Bunch of
for that.
stuff.
Give me
Yes,
the-
there is. I think for PS Plus, I remember.
April.
I can remember Xbox because Child of Light is on there. For I think Xbox One.
If you say the Xbox ones, I can pull up the PlayStation ones. But
Man.
otherwise, I've played Bloodborne. I've only gotten up to. I got to the third boss. I haven't fight him yet. I just got up to him, and I'll be preparing to fight him. And then this week, the first wing, if you want, of the Black Rock Mountain of Hearthstone was released this week.
Okay.
So I beat all of that in one sitting, pretty much.
And let's see. PS Plus is Never Alone,
Yes.
Tower of Guns, one PS4 called Aru's Awakening. And let's see. PS3 owners also get Aru's Awakening, Tower of Guns, and Dishonored. And then PS Vita gets Monster Bag and Killzone Mercenary.
Oh, okay. Then,
Yeah.
I guess it's a middling sort of. I don't really know what some of those
It's
titles
nice
are.
to get free games. That's
I mean, again, it's fine.
That's always the way
I
it
just,
is.
I always get a little disappointed when stuff like I would rather things like Dishonored. I'm never going to play on PS3,
Yeah.
like ever. I will never ever play that over there. So
Yeah, for Xbox One, Child of Light and Pool Nation FX, and for Xbox 360, it is Army of Two, The Devil's Cartel, and Gears of War Judgment.
yeah,
Yeah.
Real quick to answer Zufu's question in chat, how will I budget the balance? Or said it wrong.
how will you budget the balance?
Well, so far we are at 0, so I'll take all of it. So I'm going to do that. But let's see. I've played a little bit of Borderlands 2 as well.
Are you playing that on Steam?
Yeah, on PC. Yeah. But just a little. I've been mainly busy with Hearthstone and Bloodborne. So.
I picked up Borderlands 2 on my Vita.
Oh.
I'm gonna play that on a plane trip out to California in about a week. Something to get play on the ride.
Yeah.
You're going to Celebration, aren't you?
I am.
Okay.
it's funny. Just as an aside there for you, I remember, because we have a friend who's like, they're just bonkers Star Wars people. Always Celebration is always a thing. Always going. And like, what was it, like 3 years ago? In my head, I'm like, you guys are just gonna have to call it off eventually. There's really not much more to celebrate, is there now? Like, it's all just sort of. Aren't we just sort of like at the tail end of what's worth celebrating, honestly? And then this shows back up, and I'm like, oh man, like. That's so good for them, because I kind of was beginning to feel sorry for the very hardcore Star Wars fans. It's like, you guys are perpetually sort of reaching back to the good old days. You're like that old guy in the wood shop that only listens to classic rock from the 70s. Because like that's the last time anything was worth anything.
Yeah.
And it's like I understand, like I'm sympathetic, but then all this happened, and I was like, good for you guys. good for everybody, but definitely good for you guys.
I am actually taking one of my my 501st outfits with me. So
You
I'm
don't
gonna-
say.
Why
I
wouldn't
know,
you?
hard to believe, huh?
Why wouldn't you?
Because it'd be fun to troop, and they're expecting on Thursday, the first day of
Do you
celebration.
think anybody else will be there dressed up like something?
I'm going by the
I doubt
forums. No, there might be a couple of us.
Maybe a shirt or two.
Yeah.
If
A
you
red
want, I guess if
shirt.
you want to stand out, go dressed in like pants and a shirt, right?
In a business suit.
And put on a tie.
But we're expecting that Thursday of it opening that with J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy that they're going to show footage from the movie. So
Yeah. I
I'm
would imagine
excited about that.
That's going to
I
happen.
can't. That Celebration, man, really.
I know. And then I just also, another quick side note. I just found out Star Wars weekends in Disneyland and Disney World, they have this D-Tech thing where they scan your head and they'll put it on an action figure for about 115.
Yeah.
And this year they're premiering the TIE Pilot, and I'm like, I need to go find my way down to Orlando this year.
You just buy like a TIE Pilot figure.
I have one,
Yeah,
but I don't have my head on it.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Just tell everybody it's your head, like inside the helmet.
They modeled that after me,
So, but no, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, W.
obviously.
Matthew says Battlefront will be shown there.
Yeah,
That,
that's
that,
what
I,
I'm
that
looking-
I care about.
that
I
I'm
care
looking
about.
forward
I
to.
will, if they allow me to, I'll make sure I'll get some footage or whatever, and
We want an
Play it
on-air
with the
interview.
helmet on.
I most likely will.
If they have any hands-on stuff, do everything with the helmet on.
I most likely will
Everything.
be.
Go through security with the helmet on.
Sneak
I
pass
want
security.
footage of that. I want to see how the TSA handles that.
Well, actually, that stuff will all be in my I have my helmet bag and all that stuff going through. But I'm
Put it on.
I'm gonna have it on through carry on. I'm not checking it.
You don't seem to understand what I want.
No, I know what you want. You want like footage of me on YouTube. Getting
Yeah, I want a
frisked
newspaper article. I want you to show up in a viral video.
Whether you get kicked out or not, that's not our problem. We just want the info.
Can I at least wait till I get back? That way, I'm not missing my flight out there and
I don't know.
You're in the
So never
military.
mind to me. Fine.
Sometimes you gotta make sacrifices for the show, man.
I spent enough money already, and I haven't even got there. I'm not gonna miss it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a
Okay.
lot.
Sure. Fair enough. Fine.
Was there anything else that you had played? Was that pretty much it?
I don't think so.
Okay. Just as long as
Is
we
that
got
about
you covered.
13 minutes? What are we at?
No, you were 10 minutes short.
Ah,
You're
and
about,
that's why he's in the booth.
you're about
ladies
10
and
minutes
gentlemen.
short on that. Yeah, so I'm trying to think. There wasn't anything else that I... Well, you're talking about Star Wars, and Zen Studios announced their new table based on Star Wars Rebels,
Okay.
which is going to be releasing later this month. They still haven't announced the other thing that I can't talk about, but will.
When you can.
Well, whenever they release it.
I find it interesting that that's the thing you can't talk about for whatever period of
Yeah,
time.
you're right.
Because they haven't, and they need to do it
No,
first.
I mean I understand the nuts and bolts of why.
Yeah.
I don't understand the existential nature of why.
I know.
How it relates to the greater world. Because what it does is it... never mind. I'll spill the beans.
I'll get him on the phone.
I shouldn't keep talking about it.
I know. James knows, and I think everybody else in here knows.
I don't.
Oh, you weren't here last
Yeah,
week.
he wasn't here last
You weren't here last week, so everybody else in here knows, but we just can't
So
say
everybody
it, but-
knows.
Yes. It's a great table, and you're going to
All right.
flip your stuff whenever
Have,
you hear
have you
about-
seen the Rebels table? I mean, or
Other than what they've shown of it, I haven't seen
Okay.
it. It doesn't release until
What do they
late
do?
April.
What do they do? What do the Star Wars Rebels do? What is that?
it's their new series.
Yeah.
and
It's Greg
it's a-
Wiseman, so you know
I mean, yeah. But I know, but what do they do?
they
they're-
rebel.
Yeah. Yeah.
They rebel.
I know, but
You
do
know,
they,
like they do.
Do they fly spaceships?
They do fly spaceships.
Do
They
they
have
like Rogue Squadron? You know,
not
kind
not
of.
that much of a flying spaceship. It's more like
Where are they? When are they? Rather.
In between,
3
I know.
years. I think it's 3 years before.
Yeah, I don't know exact
Um,
timeline, but I know it's
A
between
New
three and
Hope.
Before New
four.
Hope. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, there's a younger Lando in one of the episodes.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Can't
of course-
possibly fill out the Star Wars universe without dragging the original cast into it.
And of course, there's going to be Jedi.
No, I didn't know that. I know it now
Yeah.
because that's
The-
all Star Wars was ever about. The first movie
yeah.
was literally nothing but Jedi. They
Fighting-
just all forgot their
yeah.
lightsabers
Yeah.
and they brought spaceships and blasters instead.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Lucas fixed all that. Now it's all about Jedi. Thank God.
Some episodes are focusing more about one of the one of the main characters. He's taken the young one that you're supposed to relate to under his wing as a Padawan, and yeah.
Next thing, next subject, topic, whatever. So they're making a pool table based on
Pinball table,
pinball
yes.
table.
Basically, making a pinball table based on Rebels. So
God.
they have, I believe, they have one more Star Wars table that they're going to release. I don't know when. And then they have their deal with another company That's the one that we all know about and can't talk about. So, which I don't know how many table deals they have with this company. I only know the first table that they're releasing with it. I'm very interested to see if they have like a multi-table deal.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. None of this makes sense to anybody right now, but it
No,
will.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just trying to draw out about another 7 minutes here until we go to break without dipping into something that takes longer than 7 minutes to talk about,
Anything I want to talk about is going to take longer than 7
which is
minutes.
kind of difficult to do at times. Because you're exactly right, it will.
We could speculate what the button is on Reddit.
What are you talking about?
The button.
Never mind. No,
No.
we're not doing that right now. You're going to explain that to me over the break.
Okay.
Because I don't know what that is.
Honestly, we don't either. So
Oh, okay.
that's why we could, kill
Yeah, I
time.
could actually, yeah,
All right.
you
What?
could explain that. It's an April Fool's joke. That's pretty much all it amounts
Oh.
to. April Fool's, Reddit did a thing.
Well, it's more of a
Here's a button that you can
April
press. You can only press it once. If you press it, it starts from 60 seconds and counts down. Anytime somebody presses the button, the counter gets reset.
whenever you press the button, whatever second you press the button at is what the flare you get onto that subreddit page.
Interesting.
And as of right now, 583,800 people have clicked it.
I see.
So there you go.
Nothing else has happened with video games this week.
No,
It's gonna be
nothing
a-
else.
Hey, I do love the suspend resume feature now. That's finally
I
on
haven't
the
tried any
PS4.
of that. Did you?
It is. Oh my god, I love
On the
it.
PS4?
I even totally
It-
forgot that
you know-
was a part of the firmware. I don't even turn that thing on anymore, man.
Well, you know, I
feel
forgot about it. Like I knew
so
it was
awful
coming
about
out,
that.
and
I was going to get into a mode like. Well, like
You
2
get into a
weeks
lot of
ago,
modes.
I was on my way to a turn my PS4 on mode. I was going for it, man. I was gonna feed it some Bloodborne, and I was gonna.
Oh yeah,
knock
you were
it
all
out.
set to jump back into
And
the
then I
world
was
of
like-
PS4.
I was like, I'm gonna play my console.
The world of PS4 that you have been absent from since October?
Yes,
Destiny?
it's Destiny.
Yeah.
What? I mean,
Or
look,
Dragon
man,
Age.
I spent like a weekend on Dragon Age.
Okay.
And I was like, you get out of here. You're terrible. You are awful. You are a bad video game. And I was wrong about that too. Because if, rightness is determined by how many people are doing a thing, I was clearly wrong about that. But I don't care, because in a year of absolutely stratospherically good real RPGs, something like Dragon Age Inquisition looks awfully pale, awfully thin, and largely crap to me. So that's fine. Other people enjoyed it. Good for them. But I did not. And I don't want to create any platform friction or anything here, but why? Why in the world would I ever turn that thing on right now? I have, my cup runneth absolutely over, pours out of the front door and runs down the street with what I have on the PC. So,
And most of
I
that's
just- I
just
can't
Pillars of Eternity. That'll
I mean,
take up a lot of time.
it will, and I haven't even really touched that anymore lately. I have a hard time generating any sort of affection for the console space right now, and I feel like that space is being neglected, or it isn't being properly supported
I mean,
compared to other things that I have to spend my time.
here we
on.
go trying to find something that wouldn't take 7 minutes to talk
Well,
about. No, I
Now we're
understand.
running-
Whatever, we got time. We can go over. It doesn't matter. Let's look at the exclusives for the PS4. Let's just look at the PS4 side of things. Let's even try to look at the Xbox side of things. Look at the PS4. What do you have? Bloodborne from last week.
Mhm.
What's next? That is just theirs. That is gonna turn on that system for a lot of players who only have that system. What's next? Or who only, yeah.
Hold on. Well,
Well, for me,
yeah,
it'll be
we're
the show.
looking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You gotta
I mean,
look.
there's nothing out
The
there.
show's
that
already
I-
out, though. The show is out. I'm
Yeah.
just, what's next?
Oh, next out. Okay.
What is next that is exclusive to them that is going to get people to turn on that machine?
Yeah, right.
Uncharted.
Uncharted.
That's
That ain't this year, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's 2016. Look, to be fair, we got E3 just a few months ago. We're probably going to get a bunch of people that have been, I do understand how the first couple of years of a thing go. right? And I own the thing. Let me be very clear. I own the thing. I am very much invested in Sony's ecosystem. There's the problem when I sit down in front of my PS4 is like, there's nothing here that really matters that much to me. There's no reason to be here, and almost anything that is there can be had better on my PC, and that just has not been true in a really, really long time. So it's difficult for me to sit down there, give it my time, and like I said, Bloodborne was going to be it, but I don't like what I'm looking at there.
And and
it's just not for me.
For a lot of people, Bloodborne was it. That got them to turn their machine on, and that's great. What was before that?
Before that, Last of Us Remastered, Infamous Second Son. That's
okay. Infamous Second Son was February of last year. Last of Us Remastered was
Like June
or July of this year, and then they didn't get anything again until Bloodborne. And I'm really not trying to dog on PS4. I'm just using them as an example because
Yeah,
I could do it way worse for Xbox if I wanted to.
The Order.
Ugh.
Look, perfect example. Look how easily I completely forgot that game. Look
You're
at
not
that.
the only one.
Didn't even think about that game.
Killzone Shadowfall.
Which was a launch title.
Which title?
Actually, I kind of liked. I know it's like it was a ugly, rushed little child thing.
I'm still
but
completely amazed. I completely forgot about The Order.
I am not.
That is just
Given how well you liked it,
yeah.
Well, you know,
No,
it's funny.
it's just the fact that I couldn't even remember it. That's how it just goes to the example. It just proves my point from the time we did talk about how
The Order's release was not about the Order. It was about the controversy. It was about the misrepresentation, the misapprehensions. It was about the quality of the game as it is versus like what it should be. It was about fandom. It was about partisanship. It was not about the quality of the game.
nothing about the game itself, was
Yeah.
it? It was all about
Which is why, like, now that's just been supplanted by a different exclusive that actually lives up to most expectations and is certainly fitting the bill for a large number of people. The Order has no place in the universe.
One thing I'll say that's funny is that Bloodborne has more of the style that I wish the Order had. Like, it has more wolves and all of that. Like, I'm like, what the heck, man?
Well,
Like,
yeah,
it
the
could
whole
have so much
werewolf
per-
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Where is that?
What was a complaint that it was too straightforward and linear, the order?
I buy,
yeah.
but like even
don't
to
have
say
enough time.
too straightforward and too linear isn't really doing the argument any justice. It was painfully straightforward and linear. So there you go, man. That's how you burn 13 minutes.
That is. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back. We'll have more of in-game chat here in just a moment. Here is music from Sonic the Hedgehog. This is Sonic 3, I believe. One of RJ's tunes he gave to us. We'll be right back
The one
with
that'll
more.
make everyone upset.
What?
The one's going to make folks upset, probably.
Oh, really? Why?
Maybe. Hit the button. Let's see.
Here we go. And welcome back to In-Game Chat. Music there from Rainbow Six 3. Anybody watch any of that
Rainbow 63.
Rainbow Six 3, yes.
Watch the Rainbow Six Siege.
Some of that alpha play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't. I just.
It's not how I remember Rainbow Six.
Yeah, I know. That's my problem. Like, I
At
normally, and I'm pretty sure, like, within the last hour, I've even made this argument about not having preconceived notions and then using them to form your opinion about something new. But that is not. It's just not what it's like. It's not what I want.
Here's
you
what
know?
I
To
saw.
me, that
Go
with
ahead.
it just being a house and everything like that, it felt more like SWAT.
It did feel a lot more like SWAT, and I love SWAT for what
Yes.
SWAT was. I miss Rainbow Six for what it was.
Yeah.
And that's, again, very much like a lot of other things we've talked about and how they decayed at the turn of the century. Rainbow Six type games don't really exist right now,
No.
or anymore. And that would be something that I would like to have seen. But that really is no actual judgment on what the game is, you know, what it is.
Yeah, I need to see more.
Yeah, I think that's the only way to be fair. I really need to look at it more.
I was watching, going through YouTube videos, and one of the ads that popped up before YouTube video was for Rainbow Six Siege.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that's odd, because Rainbow Six Siege was shown off at Ubisoft's press conference at E3 in 2014, so last year. And that was when they did their, here's our last little bit that we're not going to tell you much about. Here it is. Now, expect it years and years from now. Expect more of it next year and then maybe a release in 2016 or something like that. It feels like this is a game that's going to be released this fall or this winter, whatever, this holiday season. But nothing about The Division.
Yeah.
Which I thought, I guess maybe they've, I don't know. I don't know where The Division stands. I don't know where The Division is. I don't know what they're doing with it. It's Ubisoft, so yeah,
Just 2015 release date right now. That's all we've got.
for The
The
Division.
Division.
Yeah. I don't know.
And same for Rainbow Six Siege.
A 2015 release date?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, there was an interview with someone, one of the Xbox.
This sounds like
magazines.
this sounds like an Assassin's Creed Watch Dogs release, like they did last time, where they said, "Hey, let's move one of these."
Well, in the article, the guy he was talking to somewhat, I'm reading here, it said he vaguely mentioned something about it being in 2015, possibly. So,
Yeah, I don't know. Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed had a somewhat of a similar vibe to what they were doing, and we thought, our first speculation was that they moved it because, those two games coming out competing against each other. We didn't realize they were going to move it that far back, like they did. But here you got two Tom Clancy games possibly releasing around the same time, maybe. I think that'll get changed. I think that'll get moved. I don't know. It's just odd to not hear anything about The Division over hearing more stuff about
Well, it's
Siege.
surprising we don't have anything more specific than.
Yeah.
This year.
See, again, broadly speaking, I'm actually with again, I know it's a joke, but I'm kind of with Callie Cynthia that they're adding control towers and haystacks. What I think they're actually doing is going back and trying to figure out what the game actually is. They sold us on an amazing idea, the same way they did with Watch Dogs, and while the sales of Watch Dogs were perfectly fine, I think maybe somebody is sort of not going back to the drawing board, but I think they're clearly re-examining what the game actually is, since we've never really seen what it actually is. I think it was more concept than game.
Something like that, yeah. More than likely. I think we'll find that out again. E3 coming up here in a couple of months, so I think we'll find out more about that. James, on to you
Yeah?
for what you've played recently.
I'm still playing why am I playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14? Why am I doing that?
Somebody somebody on Colony of Gamers wanted to know what server you were on.
Yeah, I'll have to tell them.
You're not gonna
bark that out for the whole world. Not that you know. Well, actually, I guess I can because you're not going to know my name. But I'm on Ultros, which is, I don't know. I haven't followed the communities very much, but I know that's a GAF server and I think a Reddit server. It's a really, really heavily populated North American server. Like I said last week, I played when ARR launched, when the game relaunched. And then going back to it, I was like so lost that I nuked my character and started over.
Yeah. I'm
So
probably gonna have to do that too if I ever
and
get into it.
it's a tough thing because I mean anybody who's going to know that I play a lot of MMOs. I like the style. It's also my I don't know. You know how people, like the rest of the humans in the world, they'll like do some silly thing on their phone while they're watching TV or something like that.
Yeah.
MMOs are like my silly thing I do while I'm watching movies and television shows that don't require my attention. It's a nice low key, chill out, kind of do some stuff, make some progress, talk to people, have a social online environment, and I can kind of keep a lot of different balls in the air. I can even do a little bit of work while I'm doing it. I can watch something. I can play an MMO. It's good. It's low impact. But can be high impact if you want it to be, if you want to raid or do PvP or something like that. But I've 14 has got like such a very particular charm for me, and I understand it's a Final Fantasy thing, and I have enjoyed many Final Fantasies. I have also been disgusted by many Final Fantasies, so it's not that particular hook that did it for me. It's even worth pointing out that I think the game is. Has been, I don't want to say butchered, but it's been hobbled significantly by its presence on the consoles.
Okay.
All of its functional zones are very small. They're very compartmentalized. They're very limited in scope, and you have to have loading screens between them. And I understand, and that really aggravated me once upon a time, but I've sort of let that go and can kind of understand that they're in the interesting nature of that compartmentalization.
Yeah, and I don't remember the loading being terrible.
Oh no, it's actually
even
super
when
quick.
it was when ARR launched, and
No, even that was fine. Now
Yeah.
the loading between zones for me, and I have a fine enough
it's
computer.
A few seconds of like,
it's just a
here's
few
some
seconds.
music
Yeah.
here, right here.
And it isn't even just about keeping certain level ranges separate, which is very interesting because a specific zone, right? You would think every zone is going to be locked into a certain series of level ranges, but that's not how it's designed. There are zones that are 10 to 15, and then you just go this way a little bit, and it's like a level 45 thing, which I think is actually very good of them to have done because it keeps different elements of the world, different portions of the world relevant over a long period of time. And so I've been surprised to go back after this amount of time and see so much activity in low level zones, even if it's people just running from place to place, lending a hand to some of the random events. And
Yeah,
things like that.
that's exactly what I was thinking. Is
The Fates.
yeah, the Fates having high level players in the same zone as low level, so
To
somebody's
do a
like,
low level fate,
I don't
and
know
they
how to do this,
and they still get benefits from doing low
Yep.
level fates because of high level 50 garbage that happens that I
Yeah.
don't know anything about.
or even just like assisting another player who's having a tough time
Yeah.
in their low level fight.
It generally seems okay. Certainly no worse in terms of community spirit or attitude than anywhere else. A shockingly low percentage of people who don't have like lore appropriate or game appropriate names. You know, I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Very, very small percentage of those. Like mine is like the most unfitting name I know of, and it's not even bad, you know? It's just a silly online name that I use a lot.
Yeah.
But regardless, I really like it, and it genuinely does have not some vague story, right? Not some wispy, intangible thing that if you read the wiki enough, it makes some sense. Not that kind of story. It legitimately has a very powerful story running right through it. And I like that a lot. I like the game a lot. I like the way it's crafted. It's a very pretty game. Music is gorgeous. I just generally like its aesthetic, and it's more. I like it a lot more than I thought I would. And I missed it. You know, I missed playing it.
I'm right there with you. I need
So-
you to tell me it's terrible because
No, it's really not. It's just
no,
really a joy to play.
no.
It's really just fun, and the mechanics are close enough to. If you want a sandboxy thing, this is not going to do it for you. This is as focused, maybe more so, as anything else. But I feel like the conceit is that it's a Final Fantasy game. That focused experience is more appropriate. So whatever. Yeah, I'm very sorry. I would even pay for you to come back for a month. I just know that you don't have the time.
yeah, that's the thing. Is the time that
So
would
you
kill me
say.
there.
So you say. But anyway, I adore it, and I'm clipping
How
along.
much time?
kinda
Yeah, how
slowly.
much time are you putting into that?
Not a lot of time, just
Yeah.
a little bit of like tooling around, and it can be an enormous time sink because of how the class system
Mhm,
works. You know,
yeah.
it's not like other games where you just have to roll a character and start over. distributing your playtime through multiple classes is really beneficial.
Yeah, that's the point where it can almost feel kind of sandboxy.
Yeah.
Just you're like, oh, let me level up my gladiator.
Yeah, I feel
rank.
like doing this other
Now,
thing.
let
and I
me
feel like
go.
doing this
Let me
other
go
thing.
out and cut down wood as a botanist
Yeah.
and do all this.
It is deep, at least in terms of the kinds of things you can commit your time to. So I enjoy it. It's whatever it is, and when I don't have the wherewithal to sit down and absolutely dial in on a particular game, it's what I'm going to do. So I don't know. I really enjoy it. I'm looking forward, I guess, to the expansion pack. I don't know. I'm very new in the game. Like I said, I started over, and I've missed almost every improvement they've made over the last year. So I don't really get to engage other people because they're. I mean, I do. I just can't. I can't talk about the quests. I can't talk about the story. I can't talk about.
Yeah, because they're almost on like a different
Yeah,
plane of existence.
and they're
from
like out
yours.
at the raid level doing their like stuff, and I'm like, whatever. I'm killing wharf rats, man. What do you want? What do you want from me? So, but I do like it. I like the dungeons. I like their whole thing. It's very cute. It's very lovely. I would generally recommend it to people who know what they like. So, it's a swell little thing. So, that and Elite, man, that's it.
Yeah.
So from like the most focused online experience that you could possibly have to possibly the most open sandboxy experience you can have, doing both things. So
Yeah,
and Elite's fun now because look at all these new guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, just officially released. What, yesterday?
Thursday on Steam, it showed up Thursday.
Yeah,
Out of
just out of
nowhere.
nowhere.
And like they made and see this is interesting. I don't know if anybody particularly knows or cares. I'm always astonished that there are so many people that are interested in stuff like this but don't know that it exists or anything like that. But they have been, I don't want to say stubborn. There's a lot of people who haven't released their games on Steam, and in a lot of cases, I think an MMO style game is sort of silly to hold out for Steam, right? Like if you buy it through Steam, you're going to buy access to the launcher, and so you're going to install the launcher, and then the launcher is going to install the MMO. Just that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
So although I haven't even had it confirmed yet, I think maybe the Steam version doesn't have a launcher. I honestly can't tell. I haven't looked enough to try to tell, but yeah, out of nowhere, and after like a year of Frontier saying nope, no plans for Steam, nope. No Steam, no Steam, no. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not. Here it is.
has there been any statement?
Yeah, it's on Steam.
Oh, I meant
Why did you guys say you're not releasing it on Steam and now it's on Steam?
Yeah, I was gonna say, in the forums, has there been any like not necessarily
no.
backlash?
They have not.
but
They have. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Which is funny because really the only backlash is I want a Steam key. I want a Steam key. Give me a Steam key. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that. And they're like, well, yes, you are, because I'm angry and I have Twitter. So you're going to do it. So by like the end of Thursday.
I don't think the complaint has been successful given the sales ranking.
They have had some success because even by the end of Thursday they were like, okay, like we're looking into it. And I think the problem is they had fully intended to say nope forever. And there was a huge pushback of people that were like, look, I bought with you. I backed you. And you just said, no how, no way, never. Forget my reasons, right? I, as a person, random gamer guy, like my things on Steam. Maybe irrationally, like, insist on having things on Steam.
Yeah.
But I choose to support you. I love your game. I love what you're doing. Fine, I'm buying with you since you're never going to release it on Steam. And a lot of those people didn't back it in beta or anything. They bought it at proper launch, which was only December, right? 3 months ago, roughly. 4 months ago. And then it just shows up on Steam, unannounced. They didn't say anything about it. They gave no lead in. It was the day before they do their weekly newsletter. And they sent the newsletter out early as well because of the holiday. And there you go. And that's obviously very good. I imagine everyone's suspicions are correct, that they wanted, initially, everyone who was hardcore enough and who wanted it badly enough to buy it through Frontier's store was going to buy it anyway.
Because that
And they didn't have to share that 30% cut with Steam.
Yep. That's
Now,
exactly it.
once we've gone 4 months and everyone who was ever really interested enough to buy it, no matter where it was, has bought it. That's it. Their sales have probably dried up. And they've decided, okay, additional sales are worth the 30% cut. And I think they're probably 100% right. And I don't even care. I've never had a hang up about something like this coming from another store. Other people do, and like some of their arguments make sense. That's fine. But I know them for what they are. I know like what the game is. I don't have any problem with it. Launcher or no launcher, it doesn't matter to me. Things like that don't really matter to me. And the game works perfectly fine if you run it as a non-Steam
Yeah, just
game.
add to your.
You get the overlay, you get
list.
the FPS counter. It works fine. It functions completely well. So I just don't care personally. But Lord, how many people do? Shows up Thursday. Within like an hour, it's on the top seller list. In like another 2 hours, it's at the top, like above GTA 5, and it's been there for 3 days. So
Good call.
yeah, I mean, obviously they ran the numbers and they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And that's great. And there's a huge influx of people, which is amazing to me. No preface, no preamble, no announcement, no nothing. It's just there. It ain't cheap.
And
There's
boom.
there's
Yeah.
not even so much as a 10% discount for pre-ordering it. And it's not even like 50. And I think actually it was 50 when it launched at retail through Frontier Store. But it's $60, no announcement, super obscure. And pretty much anybody who asks you about it, or who you ask about it, will tell you, like, this is not for you. It will not hold your hand. There is no single-player story. This is not Wing Commander. This is not Freelancer. This is not X-Wing Alliance. This is nothing like X-Wing. This is hard, cruel, unfriendly, cold, but beautiful, brilliant in its flight model and execution, and yes, vast and largely empty. And yeah, they're going to spend the next 3 to 5 years adding content, much of which you'll pay for. That's what it is. Like, here's your caveat emptor, you know? This is what it is. And I would never recommend it to someone who I don't think has the right disposition for it. So I'm hoping that at least the majority of people who pulled the trigger on Steam did it knowing exactly what it is.
What they were getting into.
I would say that I think one of the things that would be awful nice if I do think it would be nice if they could somehow get people migrated over. They're not going to distribute free keys.
No.
They're not going to do that. But if they could somehow migrate, like get in touch with Steam, I know this is possible. It happened with Euro Truck. I think it happened with Kerbal. But getting an account and an ownership thing kind of recognized through Steam's API so that they're able to say, okay, like we get this, you just merge your accounts and now you have it here. I hope that's possible because I can't review the game on Steam.
The only
Oh,
thing
that's right. You if you
And
own
so
it.
there are I think a disproportionately large number of negative reviews right now because the number of people who understand the game and know it for what it is and would give, I think, a more honest and
who have been playing it for the past 4 months.
year and a half,
Or,
more like
well, yeah, forget about that. But yeah.
would be able to offer more insight, but we can't. So I think that's a little.
Duke says he's got his finger on the buy button right now.
I mean, I don't know, man. I will tell you what the game is. Right, the game is visually quite gorgeous, but it is a space game, largely made up of things that have no color at all. So that's not terribly hard. Runs incredibly well, even on low-end systems. I personally think it has the finest flight model of any space combat game I've ever played. It is a reasonable mixture of computer-assisted atmospheric style flight, which sounds like it wouldn't be particularly fun in a space game, but you realize that your brain understands atmospheric flight really well. Doesn't understand Newtonian relationships, free flight very well. But you can toggle between the two of them at will. So, and doing so is absolutely necessary to be successful in better circumstances. There is nothing. You will start the game. You were in a spaceship, and the game is like, all right, thanks for your $60. See you later. And that's it. That's all it will ever do to help you. It will only thereafter do things to hurt you.
Have you played it with any? Have you played it with a 360 controller or no?
I have played it every way that you can play it, excepting a VR
A
headset.
VR headset.
And I will also add, I can't say this based on my own personal experience, but in this case, I will trust the number of people, the number of videos I've seen, and the number of people who have played it extensively with VR headset. This right now, whatever else you think you might have done with an Oculus, this is the showcase for the Oculus. These guys have been completely understanding of what VR headsets mean from a very, very early point. And sitting in a cockpit with a VR headset on is something that I very, very much look forward to. I just don't think the Oculus is necessarily the thing, or at least not the Dev Kit 2. But I've played it with HOTAS,
Yeah.
like a throttle and a stick, which I enjoy. I think that sort of can vary based on which throttle and stick you have. I'm not entirely, I'm not over the moon with the one that I bought. It's functional. I understand what it is and why it is what it is, and I'm not sure that there were necessarily any better options for me at the time. I know that everyone will tell you that it's the best way to experience this game. I think it is. I think that's not necessarily true. It's incredibly immersive, right? Because you look down and your little VR guy, he's got his hands on a throttle and stick, and when you move your stick, he moves his stick, and throttle the same, and isn't that cute? I think it's mostly necessary if you're wearing a VR headset, because you can't find keys on your
It's
keyboard.
amazingly necessary when you're playing with
You
a
can't
VR headset.
look
Yes.
down and reorient yourself, and so being able to just reach with your fingers and thumbs to get what you got to get is that's where it's important. I personally think there's an argument to be made that a keyboard and single joystick might be the best way to play it. The joystick
like
for
a Thrustmaster.
whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever
Yeah.
stick makes you happy. A single joystick for pitch, roll, and yaw,
Yeah.
right? And then your keyboard's set up to do all of the all of your thruster type stuff. I actually play it sometimes. I have, in addition to my throttle, my keyboard is set up as the alternate keys, and I have it so that everything is kind of mapped like it's a first-person shooter, because there are forward and backward and lateral and up and down thrust as well. So there's 6 degrees of freedom in addition to your gimbal movements on the stick.
And Callie Smith there's voice control as well.
Not directly in the game.
Oh, okay.
You can use there's a third-party program. It's like $8 that everyone who's anyone uses and swears by. It's called Voice Attack. Map that with some other voice software,
Mhm.
and you go on any stream, and you'll hear some guy talking to his ship's computer, and that's what he's done to set that sort of thing up. And any number of things that you would otherwise have to have a button for, you can put on that. Landing gear up, landing gear down, request docking permission, engage hyperspace, engage super cruise, blah, 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 whatever you want.
So, all right, you know me pretty well. Do you think this would be something I should jump into?
I think I'm borderline about to mock you for not having picked it up already.
Yeah.
It's the best space combat game
All right.
I've ever played. Just devoid of having story and adventure. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But just for flying around in space and being a guy in a spaceship who does guy in spaceship things, yeah,
Oh.
as good as it's ever been. Absolutely as good as it's ever been. But mouse and keyboard, not brilliant because I don't like the mouse, but totally serviceable. Xbox 360 pad, brilliant. I've looked out there. I have seen lethal dudes, seriously skilled, competent, successful, lethal dudes playing mouse and keyboard, joystick and keyboard. 2 joystick, by the way. Some guys do they buy 2 ambidextrous style joysticks and play that way. Full HOTAS, VR, no VR, head tracking, track IR, ED tracker, all of this sort of stuff. It's beautiful. You can approach the actual gameplay in any of 100 different ways. You can approach your interface in 100 different ways. You just got to understand it for what it is. It's a little raw and it's a little mean, and it will never ever hold your hand. It will bite your hand.
2 questions that are from the chat room, but Duke's got one of them. But one that was earlier was, how is the new influx of players doing? How's the economy handling?
It's fine. The economy isn't quite fluid enough to be upset by a huge influx of people.
Okay.
and your earnings and your economic stuff down at the low end just aren't. They don't even register at the high end, And I think that's maybe a little distorted, not in their favor in a bad way. But that's kind of a balance thing that sort of needs to be looked at on the dev end. But it's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine. Your experience is isolated, and so is mine.
Yeah, and Duke says there's no story, so how do you progress? Are there quests? What do you do?
There are basic sort of missions. The only type of progression in the whole thing is get money, get better ships, go do and see more things. It's more about here's a handful of tools, here are the things that are possible, set your own goals. That's what it's about. Combat is kind of its own reward. It's fun. Trading can be incredibly fun. Exploration is dangerous and hair-raising and lonely and can be very rewarding and therefore very fun. Some things right now aren't that good. Mining isn't very good. There is no production activity yet. There are no multi-crewing things quite yet. But it's mostly about combat and limited commerce right now. And it's about kind of scratching out a little bit of money to buy a better ship that can do better things, multitask, and then specialize in better ways. In many ways, it just sort of has to be seen and experienced to be understood correctly.
And apparently, from what we found out from some tweets over the week, is that those who aren't playing, there's a bounty system, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah.
With a couple of facets to it.
Yeah.
You can be a player pirate. You can be a total bad guy. You can be a really, really bad guy. Look for players trading and doing their thing. That's fun. That's very fun to do. Not the most rewarding thing in the world. So the people who are doing it, are mostly just guys who want to watch you squirm.
Yeah. Well, there you go. If your hand was on the button to purchase Elite, then maybe you're going to make the purchase.
Anybody listening to this, I don't normally distribute who I am in various games. I am Fishbang, Commander Fishbang in that game. Anybody wants to come hunt me, hunt with me, ask me questions, send me hate mail. I don't care. That game requires connections with other people
it does.
to understand and evolve in it at all, because it does not care about you. It is not going to teach you anything. So I am always up for being friended by people in that game.
Just pull the trigger.
You just pulled the
That's up
trigger?
to-
Is that what
yeah,
you said?
you
okay.
did.
Yep.
All right,
All right.
cool. See you tonight, or tomorrow, or whenever.
Yeah. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we will have more of in-game chat. In fact, we got Zufu, who is waiting on the phone, and we will be talking to him when we come back. Here is music from Metal Slug. We'll be right back. And welcome back to In-Game Chats. That's a track called Tyrion.
I like it.
Not exactly sure what game it's from, but there you go. Welcome back to the show. We're going to go to the phone lines right now. Zufu has been patiently waiting. Hey, Zufu.
Hi, everyone.
Hey,
you
sorry
doing?
for yakking for that whole half hour.
No problem.
What's going on?
Yeah,
What's up?
I would like to just talk a little bit about Steam. They've garnered a lot of goodwill from the gamers' point of view, but from the publishers and devs, they have to basically choose between mass exposure and taking a huge chunk of their losses going to Valve, because 30% is not a small number. When I found out it was that much, I was surprised that they take 30% of each sale. That's crazy. And
Well,
the other option,
I mean, the thing of it is that 30% is part of getting that exposure. I understand
Yeah.
that.
Assuming you do actually get the exposure.
Yeah.
You know, if you're one of those guys that's in the, because I always like to bring up the Gunpoint release.
Yeah.
You know, because he was like, hey, you know, yeah, all you guys went out of your way to buy it on my website at full price. That's great. I will gladly take the 30% cut if you'll go put me on the top seller list. You know, and that's fine. They went and did that, and so, you know, the math worked out in his favor. That arithmetic certainly worked out in his favor. But you're right, for all those guys who don't have any other real platform, that 30% is. It's not exactly a gamble, but you're not guaranteed a return. It's a risky investment, I guess, is what we're looking at. Because not everybody gets that top seller
Yeah.
list, or new and upcoming, or featured, it kind of seems like they're trying to fix that, right? They've done an enormous amount of work with your queue based on your interest, and
Right,
doing
yeah.
featured stuff, and then like
The discovery thing or
they're
whatever
just
it's
they
called.
seem so like they seem to fumble a lot of the good ideas, and they seem real ham-fisted about how to be the service for everyone, right? How are you the service that showcases like the huge new AAA game and also like Bob's game?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know that you can actually do that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I think that the 30% you guys mentioned isn't bad if you get that exposure, but we still have that problem of curation. Like, you know, despite all of the attempts that they've made to make it better in terms of, like you said, you know, these games that you might like and all of these discovery options, there are still too many games where there are people who review games for a living, and they're saying that they can't keep up with the amount of games that are coming out. So
I can
you
believe
have to
that.
imagine
Yeah.
the casual gamer would have no idea a lot of these games don't even exist, and they're still taking that 30% hit.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair enough. And people have thrown around the concept of like, do you kind of take a Ma Bell approach with Steam? Do you break it off into like a bigger thing and a smaller thing?
Yeah. Do you have like Steam AAA and Steam Indie?
Right. And where do you draw that line? You know?
Steam Indie sounds like sounds closer to truth. You know,
Yeah.
But I mean, what does that even?
Well,
what does that even mean? All of those things. I mean, I know you could define it if you really wanted to right now, but it's all sort of. It used to be incredibly definitive what each individual thing was. It's not anymore. None of it. It doesn't. I mean, it's beautiful. I actually love
Yeah.
it. This is a kind of like churn and turbulence that I think is really
yeah,
fascinating.
we're complaining about video games being
right.
a runaway success.
I mean, and that's 7 years ago. 7 years ago, like everyone in the world was super happy to be involved in something like Steam because every other offering, every other outlet, anything you could ever do was locked down and controlled, no access. You're never getting in the front door, much less the 30 other doors you have to get through to get published. It was a huge deal, and it created a new environment, right? It fertilized this new landscape of everything from like AAA all the way down to like quarter A. I don't know. And so now it is what it is. And I think we're evolving to a point where it's like, okay, you did good works creating this environment. You did a good thing for the world in general, for PC games in particular. Now what do? You created this fertile land. Now you have to curate it. Now you have to take care of it. You have to husband it, you know? And I don't know how to do that. And they obviously don't know exactly how to do that either. It's a good problem to have, though. It is a fair and good problem to have. But I think that 30% meant more in the past than it does now. Because I think that 30% went to help them create the Steam of now. And the Steam of now has been the Steam of now for maybe too long. So you start to think like, are you just taking the 30% because you're the Godfather, you know? Like, is that just the tribute because you're so awesome and look what I've done for you by creating this world that you get to work in? I don't know. I don't know, man. You guys maybe do need to do more.
It's like Kiss the Ring kind of thing.
Yeah,
where,
no,
like,
that's
you have to be
exactly
honored.
it. And they have done a lot. Like, that's not disrespecting their previous works, but you do have to wonder, like, I mean, you gave birth to this thing. Now you're responsible for it to some degree. I can see that.
Well,
I don't
and
usually
also-
think that, by the way. That's not my
Yeah.
normal default stance.
Well, and there
but-
also are ongoing costs.
Oh, no, you're absolutely
yeah.
right.
There are things like people go back and download a game again. The game download has to come somewhere. Somebody's bandwidth is being used to get that, and that is Steam. That is part of
right,
what
but
they're
as
doing.
a portion of their almost like
yeah.
galactic revenue, it has become whatever it was before was certainly in their favor. Now, what in the world is it now? They're not in. I don't think that their maintenance costs are increasing at the same rate that their revenue is increasing, as with this 30% thing. I think you could maybe offer more favorable deals, and who knows? They're a privately held company. They don't have to tell anybody anything. Maybe if they were publicly held, I think that would be bad for them. I'm not suggesting that's the case, but if they were, I think we would have a better understanding about their inner workings. As it is, they're super mysterious.
Well, and
you
the
know?
30% thing is only because it's like Valve's never come out and said that's the
Yeah.
case. It's just that's what everybody's extrapolated from various
Right,
data.
right. So that's that's such a strange thing. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And keep in mind that what Callie said is absolutely right. I've heard really bad stories about their support or non-existent support,
Yeah.
and I can't blame them. They're a small company. I think, like, when I think of Valve, I think of a group of developers who hit on something big back in 2003 with the Steam store. But the thing is, they can't support the amount of millions of players that they have. Like, you see
No.
people in Dota, there's like hundreds of thousands in the game at a time. There's no way you can have a small company properly do support for. It's like Google. They can't
Right.
possibly offer good support.
And Valve, this is actually, I think, a very probably the most important argument. Valve and Steam, like, Steam used to just be a thing that Valve used. It was a conduit for some of their ideas. Now, I've got to believe. What do they have? How many millions of active accounts? What did they pass? Something.
Was it 7 million? long ago?
Unbelievable number of like not concurrent users, but like active accounts. Some huge number. There has got to be a significant portion of that group that doesn't even really understand what Valve is. They understand Steam. Valve is like some vague idea of a thing that might have existed once. Didn't those guys make some weird thing? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Valve is like the DARPA.
It says there's 125 million active
Yeah,
Steam accounts.
125 million. Valve is like the DARPA of video game developers, right? They're like shrouded in mystery, swimming in money. They don't ever have to tell you any of what they're doing. Most of what they do is like crazy, outlandish, dream concept style stuff. But instead of making like weird weapons, they're making like weird video game things. So when Valve like does something like this, the Steam boxes or the Steam controller, or any other thing they do, and it kind of, or AR, or any of the stuff, and it fails, they don't care. Like, they don't care. This is what they do.
Yeah, that's not their bread and butter.
Well, but it doesn't even matter. That's not where their heads are. And I feel
Yeah.
like what they are missing is a significant group of people who don't work the same way, who are not subject to the same rules, but who do think about sales and support. Because as had been said many times, Origin, most of the complaints about Origin are ridiculous. Those guys have top shelf support. They have excellent customer service. And that's an EA product.
Yeah.
But at the moment, they've got it way over Steam. And I have never had to do customer support with Steam. I have had with Origin. I have had with things like Square and Blizzard and things like that. And they're all very, very good at it. Even the worst ones are far better than Steam. I have a secret nightmare that someday something is going to go wrong with my Steam account.
Well, it's like that time GOG shut down for their joke or whatever it was that they did.
Yeah.
And people freaked for a good while there because they could not access their games that they had on GOG. And a lot of people pointed to like, oh, see this See, we're getting a taste of what's going to happen whenever
Yeah,
Steam finally goes
it-
away.
It's a serious fear, and I know that in smaller bites, the consoles have taught us what it's like to move from generation to generation. No, you just lose support. Sorry, you bought these games digitally; they're on the old thing. Sorry, I mean they're gone unless you still have the old thing, and even then, maybe not so. But guys like us, who have Steam libraries in the hundreds,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lavos brings up on live.
Yes, it is now. It is now
Sony's.
dead and done with.
Yeah.
Well, the tech is Sony's.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
Live as On Live is
Is
their
going
corpse
away,
belongs
yeah.
to Sony, but On Live is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I normally when someone says what you said, I just think like it's whatever. Like they have kids these days. They got it so great, you know. and
Back in my day,
right. And I do think about back in my day.
There's a lot to think about when you say back in my day, as far as this relates.
Yeah, because unlike the problem that the consoles still have not been able to answer, Sony and Microsoft have not answered for these issues, or Nintendo neither. The backward compatibility issue for PC stuff, like my library stretches all the way back, and the more of it that's digital, the more likely I am to be able to access it later. I've got stacks of CDs that simply don't function anymore. I couldn't install them if I wanted to. I can't get third-party patches or first-party patches. The DRM scheme doesn't work anymore. Like Windows doesn't even know what a thing is, and like all of that stuff was really tragic. This thing that Steam is on right now, this path that they're on, has been really good for us for a long time. But
If anything were to happen.
now, and, you know, so when somebody says like, "Well, we really got to think about what they're doing wrong," because I'm elderly, I think like, how is any of this wrong? You know, and so I have to take a second and be like, no, it is a fair thing. The future is something worth worrying about, and the nature of the world, you know, maintaining the world they've built. It's not, a garden doesn't remain beautiful without some tending, and they certainly need to tend it. So yeah, fair enough all the way around. I don't know necessarily if the percentage cut is the only thing that needs to be looked at, but yeah. I think you're right. I think it's a big worry, and they move slow, don't they?
Yeah, we've even
I
been
thought-
we've been getting some emails from a listener who has been having Steam issues. His account has been turned off,
Lord,
and
dude, that terrifies me.
he is trying. He is trying to get to. I think
I'd give it up. I'd join
Dennis,
a
I think you-
monastery and make cheese.
Yeah,
or something
it
if
was
they took my Steam account away.
it was Phelps.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dan Phelps.
And I think you wrote back to him with some tips as
Yeah,
to
just kind of be
try
like,
what to do.
just you're he was like, I just want to be angry about this, and it's like, that's probably the worst thing you do, because that's at that point the customer sports rep puts your ticket in the shredder and it's like, oh, I must have lost it. I know this
I
from
just-
working customer support.
What was that?
I just looked at my desktop and I'm counting all the games that I have and that are not Steam, and I haven't found one yet. They're all Steam
Yeah.
launchers. Crazy.
I have a limited number. You know.
I have a few
Yeah.
from GOG.
Yeah, I have
I
GOG.
picked
I have
up,
some of the DRM.
Outlaws.
I have some DRM free stuff from
Humble
Humble Bundles
probably.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But
Yeah.
that's just like some crumbs that fell off the plate.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
compared to what I have on Steam.
It's like I can look at my list, and I've got my Steam list, and then I've got games from other places like Steam, GOG, Origin, Uplay,
right, sure,
stuff like that. But then something that is individual and by itself, not very much. Basically, launchers for
Yeah, launcher stuff like Blizzard games,
Yeah.
which they've unified under their launcher, and weird little outliers like some. Again, I'm going to have more of those because I play more MMO style things that refuse to get in under someone
Right,
else's
yeah.
umbrella. You're right. You're right. It's too scary to think about, so we don't think about it a lot of times. 'Cause it just absolutely chills me to the bone sometimes to think about what could happen.
Doomsday
One last
scenario.
point is that I was thinking perhaps the way that Steam could be one up would be someone kind of getting their foot in the door, like Oculus, the Rift Store. If VR takes off, they'll have viable competition. But then now we have the HTC Vive, so
Yeah.
Steam is right there. as
Right,
well,
like
so-
Steam came in on that thing, and I'm kind of like down on what's happening with the Rift, just as their own little thing. I'm just not. I'm like, you guys are. I understand development processes are what they are, but I feel like you kind of stagnated for a little bit on your hardware, and I don't. want to throw a tantrum or anything, but the dev kit is not enough. I want a consumer product. I want it good enough, and I want it. And I know it's going to be pricey, but I want it, man. I'm not willing to sort of consider your current offering a product. You're not either. So, like, let's be honest. You need to make a consumer product. So I'm conceptually definitely interested in VR. I just don't believe in the fantastic future that so many people do. I think I understand its limits perfectly well for my interest. But then, Steam comes in and is like, hey, this thing. And I like everything about that thing more than I like the Oculus offering, just based on spec sheets and other people's impressions and stuff like that. So, yeah, can't even get away from them in VR because here they come,
Yeah.
and it looks great.
Zufu, we appreciate the call, man. Thank you so
thanks
much.
a lot.
Thank you, guys.
But we have got to go. Going to wrap this up. I want to thank everybody in the chat room there, and I'll do a quick little roll call of who we've got. Lavos, Medusa's Mirror, thanks for helping out with the modding. AC Wraith, Beer Monk, Build. Can You Shut Up, Please? That's a great name. Cavalier UK. That's another great name. Colon Sausage. Drunk Degenerates. Dry Sim, Duke Frucum 2, Evans, Jimmy the Saint, Callie Synth, Leopold Kane, Mumnut, Raspy Salamander, Taxis 59, Truffle Snout, W. Matthew, and Zufu. Thank you guys for hanging out in the chat room. Always like to do those when I can. Thanks everybody for joining us in the chat room, as well as everybody listening on the stream or on the radio as well. We thank everybody who grabs us each week from iTunes or however you get our show for later use. We really appreciate it. Head to ingamechat.net. Join us on Twitter, Facebook, our forums at colonyofgamers.com. Subscribe to our Twitch channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're on Steam, join our Steam group so you can chat with us and other listeners and have a lot of fun as well. We did get a suggestion on some stuff for our Patreon reward thing, but we would like more. So if you've got some ideas on what you would like for your money, we would love to hear them. Just send us an email, everyone at InGame Chat, and let us know. Our Patreon is not active yet, but we would kind of like to know what you would like as far as rewards. We know what we're going to do when we hit certain amounts of money, but say you donate $10. What do you get for that? What do you want? You want a T-shirt, something like that? I don't know. We'd like to know what that is. So give us an email. Let us know. Everyone at ingamechat.net. Thanks again for joining us, everybody. Have a great week, and we will see you back here next Saturday. Going to leave you with music from Portal 2. Have a good weekend and have a good week. We'll see you next time.